Hi, this is Elizabeth Cermak from Your Highest Light, Master Life Coach and Spiritual Coach, here every Tuesday at 3:33 Central Time for Transformation Tuesday, where I talk about how to create and attract your most beautiful life. And let's see, so if you're just joining me, I'm on Instagram and Facebook Live. And I also am on YouTube, so if you join me, let me know where you're watching from. I love to have comments or any suggestions that you have. You can always comment or even send me an email at elizabeth@yourhighestlight.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you're watching this on Facebook later on, go ahead and say #replay so I know that you're watching and so I can say hi to you. So last week we talked about something super important, especially for the new year. We talked about decluttering our lives and decluttering our minds we talked about decluttering our lives in order to declutter our minds, in order to create less anxiety and less stress, so we leave room for miracles, so we leave room for for our beautiful life, the life that we deserve and the life that we want. And so when we let go of the past, when we let go of things in our lives, we make space for miracles. And it actually segues perfectly into what I want to talk about this week, which is about choosing more empowering thoughts. Now, we all have heard the saying, you are not your thoughts. So I'm going to say that because I want to brainwash you, and I shouldn't use the word brainwash. I want to brainwash you, but I'm saying brainwash in a good way. I had my client, one of my clients recently said, how somebody says something over and over again and it gets in your head, it's like brainwashing, and it is. We're brainwashing ourselves in a positive way instead of in the way of fear, the way of the world. So I want to brainwash you into knowing that you are not your thoughts. I am not my thoughts. So we're going to say that over and over again. I am not my thoughts. So a lot of times we know that. We know we are not our thoughts. In our brains we know it, but we don't necessarily get it. We don't know what it means. We might be still really attached to our thoughts. So maybe in our body and our hearts and our soul, we don't really get that. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. So you are not your thoughts. So if you are not your thoughts, and this is a spiritual teaching, Eckhart Tolle talks about this in The Power of Now, Wayne Dyer talks about this. If you are not your thoughts, so say, when you wake up in the morning, you have this running dialogue that goes through your head every day, right? So that's not you. If that's not you, if you are not your thoughts, then who are you? You are the observer. So you are the silent observer of your thoughts. And the goal is to get more in touch with that silent observer. So the person that observes I wouldn't say it's a person, the person that observes your thoughts. So the way I think about it more, the observer, I think about it as my soul. So the observer, it's like your thoughts are the movie screen, and the movie you're watching on the screen, those are your thoughts, and you are the projector. So I would say you're the projector, you're the director, you get to guide your thoughts. So just knowing that, we can't always do this perfectly. So sometimes we are aware that we are choosing thoughts that are not serving us. And just knowing, the first step is really just to realize, okay, I'm choosing this. Even if you don't choose something different, just realize, okay, I'm choosing this right now. I'm choosing to think crazy. I'm choosing to think this. I know that I'm doing this. And that's the first step to being able to choose something different. So we want to start getting in touch with that part of us that is the observer. We want to start observing our thoughts. And why this segues perfectly from last week is that when you start decluttering your life and decluttering your mind, creating more space in your life, creating more space in your mind, then you are able to guide your thoughts more easily. So the more you meditate, the more you do yoga, the more you sit in silence, the more you allow yourself just to be, then you're going to be able to guide yourself a little bit easier. So I talk about, in my blog post, I talk about a couple times, if you think about a time in your life when you were able to really just let go, when you were able to let go of your thoughts, when you're able to let go of the past and just be, and actually not think for an instant. And there's 3 times that came up for me. One was when I was in Florida on the beach with my niece a few years ago. The next was going from London to Liverpool, going through the English countryside. And the other one was in Puerto Vallarta for my honeymoon, being in the ocean and looking at the mountains. And those times, I was able to let the past go. So the past is all in our mind, right? And we cause ourselves pain and suffering by holding on to it. So I was able to let all that go, thoughts about what other people think or whatever it is that confuses us and gets our mind all messed up. I was able to let all that go, even if just for an instant. And you really don't need something that dramatic. You don't need to go to Mexico or to England or to another country. Sometimes it helps to think about something that dramatic so that you can remember what it was like. Because really all you need, I use this example in my blog, is to look out the window, look at the snow, look at the sunset, and even if for an instant you can think about nothing except for what is currently going on, the beauty that's around you, if you can just do that for an instant, you're getting a taste of it, and that's all you need. That's all you need, okay? So you're creating space. Okay, so we want to start choosing thoughts that empower us. So Harv Eker in Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, he talks about declarations, and one of his declarations is, this is one of my favorite ones, it says, I observe my thoughts and entertain only those that empower me. So remember that he says, I observe my thoughts and entertain only those that empower me. This is not saying that I don't have negative thoughts. It doesn't saying that I don't have thoughts that I don't like. He's saying I entertain only those that empower me. A Course in Miracles says we are not responsible for our thoughts, the thoughts that we have. We are only responsible for the thoughts that we keep. So we don't have to be afraid of any thoughts. It's okay. That's how we get unattached to our thoughts and become the observer and let the thoughts go that don't nurture you, that are not wholesome, you let the thoughts go that are not serving you, and then you hold on to the thoughts that are. Okay, so thoughts, so we know that we are not our thoughts. We become unattached to our thoughts. We become the silent observer of our thoughts. We let our thoughts go. We notice when we're having them, and we let the ones that aren't serving us go. But we also have to know that thoughts are important. So it's kind of like this thing, thoughts are important, but they're not important, right? A Course in Miracles kind of confuses you all the time if you've read it. It goes through and it seems to be saying one thing and then the other. Okay, but hear me out. So thoughts are not important in the fact that it's okay, you can have any thought, you don't have to get attached to your thoughts, but they are important in that the thoughts that you hold on to, the thoughts that you identify with, really do guide your life. So your thoughts guide your feelings, which guide your actions, which guide the results that you get in your life. So it is important to it is important to be aware of what thoughts you're having and what thoughts are serving you and aren't serving you. I'm having the famous Instagram problem again. I don't know what the deal is. It always goes in and out. So our thoughts are important. So what I want you to do is think about, and I just did this because, I like to practice what I preach, and I just did this before the video because I'm like, I'm going to write this down. So I want you to write down, think of 3 thoughts that are disempowering. Now, disempowering means to take away your power or your confidence. So think of 3 thoughts, and when you write them down, when you write down the disempowering thoughts, it's super powerful. For me, when I'm able to write down the disempowering thoughts, I can see it's like calling them out. And just thinking about them, for me, is not enough. You have to write them down, because when you write them down, or even if you speak them out loud to somebody else, you're like, what am I doing? I'm being such an asshole to myself. Like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? You realize what you are saying to yourself and that you're being a total jerk, and it's easier to turn them around when you call them out, because usually the disempowering thoughts are simply ridiculous. So I'm not going to give you an example, because when I tend to give my clients examples, then they use my examples. And when I don't give my clients examples, they come up with better examples than I could have. So I want you to think right now of 3 thoughts that you are having that are disempowering, that disempower you. 3 thoughts that disempower you. You might not be able to think them, just start writing. Start writing. And now I want you to write 3 empowering thoughts. What are some thoughts that empower you? Thoughts that you believe that are empowering. The empowering thoughts are actually more accurate as well. So thoughts that you believe that are empowering. Hi, Mary. Good to see you. So write down 3 thoughts that are empowering. And these might not be thoughts that you have. This might be thoughts that you have to come up with, things that you believe, but they're not in the forefront of your mind. So what I would like you to do after you write down your 3 thoughts that are disempowering, so 3 thoughts that you have that take away from your power or take away from your confidence. So write down those 3 thoughts. And then after you do that, you can write down 3 empowering thoughts. And I would love for you to comment below or even email me, Elizabeth@yourhighestlight, and tell me what your new empowering thoughts are. Okay, so what are they? These are thoughts that might not be in the forefront of your mind all the time, but you want them to be. You want them to become. You want to brainwash yourself, okay? To believe the empowering things because they are more truthful. We are so brainwashed by the negativity, by the troubles. We are brainwashed by the fear of the world. And actually, the more empowering thoughts are more accurate. They're more helpful. They're more truthful. Like those thoughts I had, I wrote this down in my blog when I was in Mexico or on the English countryside. The thoughts I had were that anything is possible, that I can do anything, basically, that life is great, that this moment is wonderful. And that's when you're really able to let go of all of the things that you're thinking that aren't helping you. That you're thinking about that aren't helping you. Think about how you're weighed down by the energy. Energy is very real. You get weighed down by thinking things or thinking about things that aren't helping you. So we don't want to think about things that aren't helping us anymore. So we want to brainwash ourselves. I don't know if I should use the word brainwashed or not. I got to think about that. But we want to brainwash ourselves because it's like it's a negative term, but it's very positive. So we want to brainwash ourselves to remember and to believe those empowering things. So write them down. I have my 3 empowering thoughts right on my bulletin board in front of me. I want you to write them down so you see them multiple times a day. I want you to say them to yourselves multiple times a day. If you need help coming up with a more empowering thought, let me know, but you can do it. I know you can do it. It's in there. It just might not be in the forefront in your brain. So, okay, so I got 2 more things I want to talk about. So for me, something that's really helped, I've talked about the doTERRA essential oils before. I came up with an essential oil blend that actually really helped me to ground those more powerful, empowering thoughts. And so it's 4 drops of lime. People in blends tend to use like 2 drops. I tend to use more. 4 drops of grapefruit, which was the free oil of the month for January. And then 2 drops of geranium. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. So the geranium, it's like colder than Antarctica here. Tomorrow it's going to be colder than Antarctica. All the schools are closed. It's really cold. So, the geranium, I like it because it reminds me that spring is coming, but it also relieves feelings of stress and tension. So if you want to think more empowering thoughts, the citrus, the grapefruit, and the lime help you to think more uplifting thoughts. And then the geranium helps to relieve stress. So stressful feelings. So when you put relieving stress when you combine stress relief with uplifting thoughts, you are going to get a more powerful, more empowering frame of mind. Okay, so it smells so good, and like I said, it also reminds me that spring is coming. And I just talked about the emotional benefits of the oils. There's a lot of physical healing benefits to them as well. So, okay, so you can always check that out on my Scent of an Angel page, and you can see how to order and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so I wanted to end. And Mary's gonna love this, I am reading this book, I Me Mine by George Harrison. I'm obsessed. I absolutely love it. I love this book. It is so good. Now look at how big it is, but actually, I'm almost done with the part. I'm not a fast reader, but I really like memoirs and like autobiographies and stuff, but really the part where he writes, it's him and the part where he writes is really only this much. It's like the closest thing to the autobiography that we get. This book is so beautiful. Look at it has the sheet music inside. All Things Must Pass. The sheet music to All Things Must Pass inside. It's beautiful. But so that's where he writes about his life. Oh my gosh, it's so good. And then there's a bunch of pictures in the book, Beatle pictures and all that kind of stuff. And then there's the lyrics to the songs. And so he found where he had written them on napkins and stuff. And then he has a little thing before each song about a little thing about how it came to him. So I love this book, obsessed with it. I love George Harrison. So I wanted to leave you with this, a quote from this book. First of all, he dedicates it to gardeners everywhere. This book is dedicated to gardeners everywhere. So he wrote, this is in the last second sentence of chapter 2, he writes, "I'm really quite simple. I don't want to be in the business full time because I'm a gardener. I plant flowers and watch them grow. I don't go out to clubs and parties. I stay at home and watch the river flow. So I love it. I almost could cry because I really connect with that. And so it just reminded me of what I'm talking about today, because when you're able to do that, you stay home and watch the river flow, you're creating space in your mind and you're able to choose your thoughts. You're able to choose more empowering thoughts. George was huge into... the book is all about him trying to get rid of his ego. He's huge into spirituality, and so I love him. So anyway, that's what I wanted to leave you with, that little quote. So I want you to remember also, our new mantra: I observe my thoughts and entertain only those that empower me. Start being the silent observer of your thoughts. Notice when you're going to the crazy place. Notice when you're going to the better place. And start guiding, knowing that you are the projector, that you are the guider, you're the director. You can direct where your thoughts go. You have that control. You can do it. Only you can do it. Nobody else can. Okay, I love you guys so much. I will see you next week, Tuesday at 3:33 for Transformation Tuesday. I talk about how to create and attract your most beautiful life. And I know a lot of my watchers have such beautiful lives, and so it's exciting to have you here. So love you guys, and I will see you next week at Tuesday at 3:33. Prudence is sleeping as usual. She's going to say goodbye to. Mwah. Peace and love. I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.